Hi guys, welcome to Java Capital's Freewheeling Friday. I am Karthik Palapaka, co-founder and partner at Java Capital. I'm joined with Bhargavi and Vinod Shankar, also co-founders and partners at Java Capital. Hello guys, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Karthik.
Hi. Hi. It's good to join at 6 o'clock for a change.
I see.
Way to go, Bhargavi. Way to go. Thanks for joining us on at 6 o'clock today. First things first, Bhargavi has moved into a new house. You know, so we
Very
have
important update.
we get to enjoy the new
Yeah.
background and
You know
lighting.
what? She's literally rubbing shoulders with the big VCs in the industry with where she is gone now. Huh? You should tell
Quite
me.
right,
Yeah.
quite right. Why shouldn't she, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you fill us in a little bit, Bhargavi? Like, who do you bump into on a daily basis?
Not yet, but I hope to bump into a couple of good names. I think I just bumped into CEO of a very prominent newspaper. I think that's been.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah.
So it comes with additional benefits, right? So I suppose the homeowners association or the maintenance is totally worth it, if not for anything for the company.
Karthik, I have a FOMO right now, Okay. I don't know about you. I'm being honest. Yeah.
We know you're bolted to the ground, my friend. You cannot move.
Yeah. Anything, can be removed, Karthik, at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait, man. I think that sounds fantastic. So, on that positive note, let's start our session today. Vinod, what are we talking about today? We have a bunch of things on mind, right? Shall we start with any special announcements? Do you have any special announcements to make today?
Um, I don't have, but we expected, but maybe Bhargavi is the right person. So, but from what I understand, maybe it's postponed to the next freewheeling Friday,
Yes, yes.
hopefully. So let's wait it out. Else, I think we are good with our next set of companies to work with. But there's a lot of action that's happening in the industry, right? At our end, there's a lot of action that all of us are aware of. But I also sense, a lot of action in the industry that's going on, and not just industry, the government. We have the labor laws being passed as we speak, and agri reforms, if I have to call it. Some people may say, it's not reform, but that's happening on one side. There's a lot of action happening on that front. So I think overall, it's lockdown, COVID, but I also sense a lot of risk taking is happening from the government for the first time. I mean, when risk taking, right? I'm talking of what the government is doing with this agri reform. See, it is like I was just comparing on my tweets, right? I was telling whatever Modi's done or the parliament is done is a lot of risk, right? This can turn out either ways, right? Like in 1991, if somebody looks back and tell on the day of the reforms, nobody would have said, "Oh, we are all going to be,
Yeah, this is gonna work out. Yeah.
BC will come to India, right?" In 1991, nobody would know, right? We opened up, everybody would be like cribbing, "Oh no, this is like." Imagine the Babus, right, who were controlling number of Bajaj Chetaks that was produced, or number of Premier Padmini Fiats that was getting produced, right? Like suddenly you snatch it away from their hands, right? Like there's so much of what do you call momentum. I would say opposite of momentum. I'm not able to get the word of that. I'm saying opposite.
Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
I think that's a good point, Vinod. First of all, guys, welcome to the Freewheeling Fridays. If you are just joining us on YouTube or on Periscope, Twitter, feel free to leave in your comments. And if you want to take part in the conversation, jump right in. So we're just discussing about the reforms that are being introduced in the Parliament in the just concluded session. And you're right, Vinod. but this government also has like tremendous majority, right? I mean, it came with a mandate, so there's a lot of expectations that come from this government. So I'm actually, I'm quite impressed that they're taking these bold decisions, and which can jumpstart the economy after the 23 plus percent contraction that we've had in the last quarter. So anything and everything that we should do to jumpstart the economy should be welcome. But yeah, I mean, it's not immune to politics in the country, so we'll see how this pans out. So having said that, IPL has started.
Yeah, I watched yesterday, man. Karthik, we just lost to
I
him.
didn't want to bring it up to not put you in a spot, Karthik.
No,
I
don't
only.
even do that. I'm gonna pretend to follow IPL. Okay, I do follow cricket though. But if it is like an international match, right? Like India
Exactly.
versus
Yeah.
Australia or something like that.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
I don't follow those things as well. I just follow Chennai Super Kings. Okay.
Yeah,
so I think we have some rivalry here, already, RCB, Chennai Super Kings.
yeah.
Karthik
No,
is
no,
a
I don't consider you as a rivalry. Sorry.
I think that's like underestimating. Yeah, we will come back, right? Like, so that's gonna happen. I think the two things happening, Karthik: Indian Premier League on one side, Indian political league on the other side. The last week has been exactly that. Yeah, see, Bhargavi is a agri fan, right? She's invested in Kamal Kisan. I would want to know, from I'm happy to also give my viewpoint here, right? But I would want to know, what does it really mean for the new age companies? Forget like the old ones, the ITCs of the world and the Reliances of the world are going to take advantage. That's aware, right? For Future Group or any other organized retail market, guys. But what does it mean for the new gauge guys? I'm talking of Ninja
Mm.
Kart, Jumbo Tails. I'm talking of Udans of this world, right? This is like tremendous opportunity, right? Like I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking, right? I was just reading something in the morning where Sequoia's one of the Tejasvi from Sequoia quoted saying, direct jobs created by startups is 1.5 million, organized jobs.
Wow.
I mean, unorganized, we don't know, right? That's like a real large number, 1.5 million. Unorganized is typically 3 to 4 times of the organized jobs, right? So typically, we estimate like 7 million jobs, right? Roughly that's potentially possible from the startup economy itself. I'm saying, good organized jobs and an unorganized is a lot more. I think there's like a pivotal point here where, it'll be the new age economy which will capture this, less so the old industry, right? So that's what I'm thinking. What's your thought, Bhargavi?
See, the way I always look at agri reforms is what's going to happen in the real last mile, real on field. Because I was of a view since many years now that whatever VCs invest in or anything in this sector is always to do with the supply chain, the mid range. Nobody really goes to the grassroots because that is like a taboo, because we know so many things happen there. It's not clean, so it's actually difficult to break in, and it's and that, I think probably that's one of the reasons why new age investors also have not been looking at it, except for a couple of companies which have tried to break in, like gold farm and all, right? Now who actually go to the do something at that grassroots level. So I think this is probably one welcome change where I'm expecting can actually people start going really to the grassroots instead of just playing in the supply chain or goods movement or licensing section or agent kind of activity. Because I think at the end of the day, unless something really happens in the grassroots level, it's actually going to uh, not move the needle much, right? Because still there is so much mechanization. We have to make it attractive sector for people to go in. But frankly, I think new age, new young millennials are looking at agriculture, which is a very welcome change. I know that because city dwellers are starting to look at, but instead of just looking at it like a cool thing, they should start looking at it as a profession, and we need such things to make that shift. Personally, I always have felt that a time has come in India where things are going to happen in agri, and if we want to look at increasing our personal wealth over the next 15 years, we all should start holding
Farmers.
there in agriculture personally, right? See, that has always been my view, and I'm also trying to do something about that. But I know that looking at it from a grassroots level and also looking at the middleman level, I think it's something should happen to move the needle, and we already, at least people are starting to think about that.
Yeah, Bhargavi, I think, on a lighter note, right, you should start moving your kid from White Hat Junior to, Farming Hat Junior or something like that. Okay.
Can you please censor it, okay? I don't know if we can do it.
What White Hat Junior, man? Dude.
Exactly. Yeah, the only white hat I know is
Karthik.
Karthik's white hat, right? Which we
Yeah.
don't have today.
Yeah, and the famous White Hat makes an
The
appearance.
leaving on a lighter note, like leaving aside the joke, right? I'm saying, like, look, imagine what's the change that's potentially is happening, right? You as an apartment association, Karthik, or you as Indranagar residents, right? You can get in touch with the farmer now, and the farmer can sell produce to you directly now.
Hmm.
Legally, previously it was not allowed, even though it might have happened. But today, right, there's all the legal bearings where you can talk to the
Yes.
farmer, get the produce directly from the farmer, and pay him what you really want to pay him. Right? I'm sure when somebody like an individual ties up with a farmer or an apartment association ties up with 5 farmers, I think the economics change dramatically both for the farmer and also for the consumer.
Mm.
Still, I think at a grassroots it's going to take time because see, private guys who can do that, we already see it, right? Bangalore, maybe we have exposure to all the business models which exist in the ecosystem mostly, right? So I know already it's happening. But imagine a middleman who had built his livelihood
Fortune,
hoping for
rather.
this.
Yeah.
For them to let go of this is not going to be easy, and it's not just commercial, right? There is so much political motive which is there. So that is where I think it's probably going to take some time for real grassroots change, but this is a welcome step at least. So
Bhargavi, that's where my other question was, right? Like, see, I think that I was telling this as a risky decision, right? Reason is what happens now? All these middlemen, right, who are going to be jobless. They may be in millions. I'm assuming, given the farm sizes and people, right? There are millions of people. It's a question. See, the farmer might benefit, the consumer might benefit. These middlemen, right, are eventually going to come and ask, I'm jobless now, right? Give me a job, but where is the jobs for them, right? Like, we don't have manufacturing in place, or like we don't have new things, right? I think that is the challenge, right? Which to my mind, the government is left, open-ended and unaddressed, right? If they had kind of, put a some kind of an initiative on that side, right, which will leave a lot of people jobless, more people jobless, especially as middlemen. I think that would have changed the course. I
see,
think.
in a country like this, right, very difficult to plan for everything. I think when you are pushed up against a wall, that's where innovations come in, and probably, who knows, these guys might be the front runners to bring the much needed mechanization yeah, in the space. And the other side of it, right? The way I look at it is not everybody will be jobless. It's just that from a position of forcing this onto a farmer, now it's made optional. Because do all these farmers have access to the market, have the time, willingness, knowledge to do that? May not be. But from a position of this is how you have to do it, has now become this is one option how you can do it, right? So that is how the equation is changing, and still, of course, there are good guys who have been operating, and they will continue to be there because if somebody, it's general business, right? Why do we have distributors for our products? Because it has its own advantages. So that is going to remain. It's not just going to get wiped off, but it's just that like how we do in a company, if one distributor is not doing a good job, you go to somebody else. That freeness is probably going to come in the market. That's how I look at it.
All right. Great.
Okay, guys, I think this is a great start to the conversation. We also have our special guest, uh, Bhavik Mehta. Hey, Bhavik, welcome.
Hi,
to
Karthik. Hi,
Freewheeling
Vinod. Hi,
Fridays. Good
Bhargavi.
to see you
Hey,
here.
hey,
Hi,
Bhavik.
hi, Bhavik.
So Bhavik is a dear friend whom I don't know that well. I'm just messing around. Bhavik, of course, Bhavik, we
Yeah,
know
in
Bhavik very, very
Bangalore
well.
terms, we know what dear friend means, right? It has to
So,
be a dear
Bhavik,
friend.
Bhavik,
welcome to Freewheeling
thanks for
Fridays.
being a dick man again, huh?
Right. So, like, I'm trying to figure out the graphics here, but I just want to introduce Bhavik for a second for those of us who are online right now. Bhavik is a vice president at Roots Ventures. Um, he has previously worked at Kalari Capital before jumping ship to Roots, and also an authority on public trading and also the startup investments. Right. So, very, very happy to have you here on the show today. Bhavik, thank you so much for joining us. So just before you joined us, we are discussing the impact of Farm Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just could hear some part what Vinod was trying to explain. Not
yeah.
that we living in cities, we could try and make an attempt to the far away
No,
repercussions, which we do well, Vinod. But
Bhavik, I think, see, look, you track small caps. I know that pretty well, right? Small caps and micro caps, right? I'm very, very sure in the small cap, micro cap space, right? There'll be small agri businesses, bunch of them,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I sense that, right? So I'm sure you're tracking it.
Sure, yeah, and even as big as HULs of the world and even Colgates of the world are getting traction because people think that it will change everything, but we don't know. It's an election heavy near future, and there are multiple things happening, as you know. So, uh,
You
yeah,
seem to be like, talking like a politician.
yeah, obviously, but the investment related repercussions are many. Yes, you're right.
Hmm. So is it good or bad? Let's talk that way, right? For
Sure,
farmers,
yeah,
for
yeah.
consumers, Bhavik, what's your take like? How do you see it as?
Yeah, so keeping the execution part apart that we also discuss online, right? That is a different story, which will make it into a political debate. But on the face of it, there are a lot of important things that are happening, a lot of good efficiency related measures which are going on, right? Which are planned on paper, which if done correctly, that could lock at least the wastage of crops to a large extent, which we were seeing due to all these age-old methods of trying to curb everything, trying to control essential commodities, at least, and which we used to talk about every year, right, in a general conversation that the tons of grains getting wasted and the farmers
Hmm.
not getting anything, but because it's somehow getting mixed up with MSP, I think it has taken a different a different turn altogether, which again we are trying to make sense of that which part of the country is getting affected by that or which part of the country is not getting affected by that. But again, that is a very confusing sort of scenario which has turned up. But other than that, corporatization is a word which can tends to get used negatively a lot of times, right? So it has positive benefits wherein these lot of so again we've read so much that practically if the small marginal farmer is getting much more than what he or she would be, then that it's all positive in that context. But if they get from one bonded labor to another, they are jumping into corporate, being a corporate labor again in the sense of being bonded again, then it is negative. But I think on paper and as far as the plan goes, the purpose goes, it seems very, very, very positive to me. But given the political situation, given the year, as we again discussed, that we don't know the timing of it, whether it's right or not, or where are we equipped to roll out something like this at this juncture where the general motivation and the general tone of the economy is so uh, is junk like this.
I don't know. I'll just follow that up, Bhavik. See, I sense, like some kind of a paradigm here, right? Like small farmers will eventually quit and have to do something else, right? I mean, we can't have
Yeah.
50% of the workforce, farming and producing 17% or 18% of the GDP.
Mm.
Uh, so people have to move out and do something else. That's like a given, right? If you have to bring mechanization into this,
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
new technology into this. So I think that's where I think the pain is going to be like really harsh, right? Like 50% of the people working, we have to find jobs, other like gainful employment for like almost, let's say 50% of the people now, 40, 45% of the people over the next 20 years, right? If you have to make this transition smooth. Otherwise, I think we are in for like a real surprise, frankly speaking, there. If we don't, if nothing happens right after doing all this, then it's like, hardly any impact, right? I mean, this is like US direction, frankly. Only 2% of the population is doing farming,
Yeah.
and we have 50% of the people doing farming, right? So I sense, can the paradigm shift happen here in 20 years? I don't know exactly how many years, but I'm like surprised if it happens in 20 years. But that's where the problem is, actually speaking
Yeah.
about this
And
down. Yeah.
And Vinod, also when we speak of a lot of agri-tech reforms and a lot of companies emerging, so if such kind of bills exist, then it's a direct benefit to any kind of innovation, right? Without these, we already know that the time, so given a limited time that we agri-tech deals also we are seeing, a lot of people were trying to disrupt the whole problem that how do we go and help the farmer in the regular crops, right? Everyone is trying to do organic and exotic ones. There are many startups trying to disrupt that because that is not governed by anyone, right? Anyone could put up a indoor farm with trying to grow a basil or trying to grow something very pak choy, something very exotic. But now at least there are chances of someone thinking on the regular ones,
Hmm.
considering that there is some leeway around, although 10 years or 20 years, but there will be a start in the next 2 3 years towards these measures as well.
Interesting.
So, Bhavik, I think this intention of this bill is very, very clear, right? Where they want to eliminate the inefficiencies in the system. But it's easier said than done. It's not going
Yeah.
to change overnight. There's a lot of
Hmm.
effort to be put in. Um, and I think the biggest part here, the weakest link in this chain, if you will, is really the supply chain, right? I mean, for farmers to say secure their produce, or bring it to the market. Do you see any of that getting affected, in terms of a technology led disruption happening there?
So I think in Maharashtra already we had seen the different kinds of positive and negative reaction when the APMC part got pulled up, wherein they said that you can directly come to say Mumbai from regional towns and regional places. And so all the small farmers, I didn't see any of them raising any voice against that it is not good. And
Hmm.
with that disruption, in a lot of these new age logistic companies were actually servicing these farmers, right, during the time of pandemic, wherein we got produce directly from a Nasik farm or a regional Konkan farm. And that was happening very smoothly. People were buying vegetables all across, and indirect use of technology was being made, wherein you could do a bulk order to a specific logistic partner. They would aggregate at farm level and get you that box, right? It was very simple. Again, obviously, we don't know that it was for a lot of more stuff beyond basic essentials, but technology really helped them during these times. And people, even the consumer benefited when they knew what the produce is directly coming from the farm. I don't have to worry about whether it's infected, not infected, and various other things. And added
Hmm.
to back it up with certification, to back it up with your delivery schedule. So I see a lot of positives in that front, and if that were to happen pan India, so easier said than done, yes, because we are thinking about our day-to-day grocery bill, right? We are not thinking about right now. At least we are not trying to imagine how a bulk order would take place in that context, wherein a farmer has a surplus during a specific season. What
Right.
technology will help him help that person get the money, right, during these times? So that is for us to look forward. And so I think this is going forward definitely. It's a bill which goes forward. How it gets executed is all for us to see.
And Bhavik, the other concern on the other end for the farmers, right, is the MSP, right, the minimum
Yeah.
price that they can. What kind of impact do you think this will potentially have on that? And also, for markets to for farmers to really discover new markets, right?
Yeah.
This
So
is not
yeah.
going.
Hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, Bhavik.
So So I think and only when these kind of changes happen, we realize that which part of the country was actually benefiting from MSP, right?
Yeah.
Now it is very clear that say 2 or 3 states combined were reaping all the benefits. And other than that, I think the overall MSP related produce selling was just 10 or even 10 to 15%. I think even less in a lot of other states. So was MSP really guiding all of these farmers or not? That is again a big confusion, which is motivated by we don't know politics or some other facts. But
Mhm.
other than that, MSP was a thing in paper, wherein it is a minimum. It's not a maximum thing, right? If it was maximum, then we could have thought that okay, there's something going on, and we are trying to disrupt the upper ceiling of what happens. But lot of these cartelizations, lot of these artificial pump ups of pricing, wherever they used to happen, I think they would be worried because somehow now if it is left open to the market, we could get our produce very cheap suddenly, right? And with the farmer earning more amount and we get paying less, so ultimately the middle people who were not even required there were existing for what or whatsoever reason we don't know. But so important point again from the farmers' perspective of the 2 states wherein they say that if there is no central location where we can get the MSP or we can
Mm.
swiftly, because for them time is of essence. They need to sell that off as quickly as possible to try and do something, try to turn over their farm or try to get that money again. So how is that going to be addressed? We are not even I'm not able to figure that out. It's just the point wherein the government has come out and said that MSP doesn't get affected. But if there are concerns relating to the process and where do they go, and if that can be addressed, I think that would be a big safety net around their decision to go ahead.
Got it. Got it. So, Bhavik, just switching gears a little bit,
Yeah,
uh, why don't we? I'm gonna hand it over to Bhargavi. She has a few questions about what exactly it is that you guys do at Roots Venture.
sure.
Yeah, because I know you would have interacted with KP and Vinod. So I just thought I'll take the liberty. I have followed a couple of portfolio companies of Roots Ventures, and I really like a couple of your picks. So I just wanted to know about the thought process that goes in, and how do you decide on the funding quantum, because I know a couple of companies were quite early, but you did do like some what Sequoia would do and gave a large 1 million plus check. So just wanted to know about how you guys generally go about investing in companies and what stage you look at.
Sure. So I think just to give a brief background, Roots is a very young fund. It's a 2-year-old fund now. And our thesis from day one was that we would focus on consumption-driven investment opportunities. Now, whether it comes from brands or whether it comes from consumption ancillaries, which was our initial thesis around. And what we thought that a lot of these consumer brands are new in the ecosystem. There's not much that would be available to say a deep tech company or a fintech. It's not that wide an ecosystem for CPG brands, right? At least in the early stage. And so we decided to do some of these investments early to give them that opportunity to build that up, because
Mm,
CPG is a slow process of built up, and it takes its own time, even whether we are in the times of D2C or not. It generally takes some time to develop that, and so that's where we started with, and we invested in some interesting early stage CPG brands, right from pet care to traditional mithai to plant-based protein, and so some of our large investments were again wherein you said that we would do something which a large fund would do, and our parallel thesis is that we generally do not follow the hot sectors per se. We would not go running around to get a deal within a hot sector, because we by thesis and by design are a small fund, and we would want to capitalize on every bit of valuation to persistence of earnings for a company, whether it comes slow or not. So Smitten is practically our largest investment, and It is and it is a house for all the early D2C brands in the other
Yes.
sense, and it
I
is
have been following Smetan even before they raised capital.
yeah,
They are my ISB seniors, so
oh yeah,
I know it,
yeah.
it was such a refreshing idea. So I like Smetan. Yeah.
Yes, and it was e-com. It was being taken as an e-com company, but it's way beyond that. It's a launchpad for various D2C brands. So they,
Yes.
as we speak today, they have more than 350 brands on their platform, trying
Yeah.
to trying to solve the pre-purchasing problem, which is a very genuine one. Wherein we saw again taking context to the whole farming bill and taking the analogy further, the whole point is that companies can define a particular expense as a marketing or a sampling expense, but eventually there is no ROI tracking, right? There
Yes.
was no way to figure out that what is happening to that sample. We all are
Correct.
in our when we used to buy magazines, right? Today we have Maxter or something else. Those times we used to get those pouches or we used to get those things, and we used to decide that okay, now that I've got that green tea packet or a shampoo, should I
Correct.
go ahead? But there was no way to measure that. Now, what will I do post that? We would never figure that out. So we realized that that's a big problem. Although in e-com, the general perception is that a larger platform is where everything is sold by a lot of people, and but this is a company which is focused on CPG, and there are more and more upcoming brands in the Indian ecosystem. Considering that again, our parents' philosophy that India is an under-branded country, and going from our experience of evaluating a lot of CPG brands early on, we realized that this is a very big problem, and that's where we decided to invest in Smitten. And given the current scenario, also it has done really well, and it is going very much beyond what it was at pre-COVID. So that is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And other investment that I would like to speak on is Just Herbs again. The whole philosophy was around CPG brand, and if you would see the pattern within our portfolio, it's all around wellness.
Yes.
Wherein we,
Yes.
whether we talk about Tea Monk, which is a premium tea company, but again it is without any artificial flavors or oils.
Right.
So again, when we would speak about large scale, large ticket size tea investments happening by the large funds, again someone would wonder that why again this, right? But the point is that the experience which the founders come with, they would have experience as much as what all our team members ages would be. So the two founders combined would have around 60 years of tea experience, and premium tea within the wellness segment, again we saw it as a large market and continuing to do well. And coming to Just Herbs on that line, that I think it was a very unique combination of wellness and D2C, right? Uh,
Correct.
if you would go around and see any of their posts on Instagram, you'll realize that how much the customers love their products.
Yeah. I'm a
And
happy customer as well.
yeah,
So
so
I'll take it offline more about Just Hub because
yeah,
I'm sure Karthik and Vinod knows. Yeah, you're right. So Just Herbs is a company where even if we had looked at premium natural personal care
yeah,
space products before that, right?
hmm,
They won't have probably an intersection of beauty, makeup, and skincare, right? So the hair care, skincare will be a separate segment. They may not have anything in makeup.
hmm,
I know other couple of other brands which started doing it, and I know Just Herbs has also been one of the early movers who's trying to combine makeup as well, natural makeup as well. I know, so the way they have grown in the last 6 7 months, especially the kind of products they have launched is
yeah,
tremendous. It's amazing.
yeah,
So yeah, so look, I'm on air, and if you're building the next Just Herbs, or if you're building the next Kama Ayurveda or Soul Tree, please write to us. We are actively looking for companies.
Bhavik, basically थोड़ा deal share कर मैं यही बोल रहा हूँ. Okay, when do we do the next deal together?
we will soon. So given your obviously we have a lot of complementary things to work together, right? And a mix of deep tech and a mix of consumption. I think we'll get along somewhere in the middle. So that's gonna happen sooner than later, right?
Yeah. But sorry, I cut you short on just herbs. Please
Yeah, so
continue. Sorry. Yeah.
it's quite interesting. So when we invested, there were great SKUs. So interesting part which drove us into it further was that when we saw, and I personally saw a lot of consumer cosmetic companies popping up, right? Although Karthik, I or Vinod are not the real customers for them. We on LTV front, we would be the lowest hanging one.
It's
But
okay. Me
yeah,
and my sister would have made good for all of you put
yeah, so
together.
we'll click every ad that comes along,
Bhavik,
which I would have done for Just Have also.
Bhavik had a high LTV for cosmetics, I'm assuming now.
No, 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 not at all. So I would have burnt a lot of their money also in their initial diligence phase, right? Trying to click every advert that you see, and that would have costed them a lot. And they were manufacturing their own cosmetics. So
Yes,
that's not a small feat, right?
yes,
Given how commoditized it has become, everyone is selling an
yes,
onion hair oil, or a charcoal beauty splash, or so that has become the norm. And there are a lot of these contract manufacturers will just label, say, for any one of us, right, over here. So that was the key factor. And given that the expertise that they had of the past 20-25 years, wherein it was taken as a very small scale kind of a business, wherein the second generation took it to this next stage of making it a D2C brand, right? Wherein you all know that person in your neighborhood who has the best soap or the best hair oil, but now taking it to the next stage wherein you make a crowdsourced micellar water, or you make a crowdsourced lipstick kit, which is
yes.
not a small feat. And the lipstick, so I've tried ordering myself, putting in all our code, but it doesn't come before say X number of days, because people never thought that mixed lipstick miniature versions existed in the world, right?
Correct.
That was not a reality. Everyone was used to
Yes,
those expensive versions with fancy names, but no one thought that. And taking that forward, driving the entire traffic to their own website, that only happens when you're a loyal customer. Otherwise, you'd always try to find that cheaper e-commerce platform where you can go and
yes,
buy that,
yes.
right? And you would not trust their delivery. Any new startup, at first impression is that let me buy it on Amazon, because at least I can track it, I can put up that review and ask for refund if I don't like it. So driving a bulk of the sales from their own website, again, a great thing with which they cracked it correctly in the past 12 months. And I think it's great, doing really, really well now.
It's great. I know one more brand which probably has a similar story, but I'm sure they are beyond our reach, and I think they are not raising VC capital. If I'm not wrong, Soultree.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the liberty of mentioning the brand name, right?
sure.
It's also Soultree has also done a similar journey. If I'm not wrong, similar
Hmm.
background. They had their
Yeah.
own setup, know-how, and same, including the miniature lipstick, having the intersection between personal care and makeup.
Yeah.
Right. That's why, because I know Soultree since the last 5-6 years now. It was good to see another brand coming in with refreshing products in the natural sector. It's very good. It's great. So yeah, I think you picked my two favorites in your portfolio as well to talk today, Smitten and Just Herbs.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so obviously offline we can talk in detail about all our brands and all our companies, but I
Sure,
think these
sure.
two stand out as far as the discussion about how we built it up and how successful they have been.
Great.
Great.
In terms of consumer investing, right? Sorry, Karthik, I'm going to take one
Yeah,
more
yeah. Go ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
Um,
Yes.
See, I have always wondered, and because of my work hazard, I know other consumer VCs as well. This is one thing which I always ask people. So when you look at consumer D2C brands or in general, right, brands, Are you also interested to look at companies which are enablers like Smitten? Smitten is sort of like a marketing and
Yeah,
distribution
yeah,
discovery enabler, right? There could be companies which are disrupting supply chain, because that's
yeah.
another thing. One of the reasons why many of these brands don't go offline is it's actually very expensive to build. What are your thoughts when you play in this sector, right? Are you super focused on the brands, or you are open to look at tech enablers,
No, so
other
definitely tech,
functional enablers?
definitely tech enablers. As far as CPG brand goes, it's part of a larger consumption-driven thesis, right? So we've invested in Smitten, which is a consumer tech platform. We've invested
Yes.
in Raho, which is a B2B logistics provider where it's trying to disrupt the whole broking within the trucking industry, and which is
Mm,
a huge pain in supply chain. So, and we've invested in Mind Your Fleet, which is trying to disrupt the whole cab booking for interstate for corporates, which is
okay.
again was an issue where a lot of this B2C brands were not giving the quality wherein which would be comfortable for employees of a company, right? So so we have invested across the spectrum of consumption. So we've not restricted ourselves to CPG brands itself, and we would continue to invest around any of these enablers in the future.
Great, great, great. So yeah, Karthik, I think we are there in terms of time.
So
So
Yeah, Bhavik, thank you so much for joining us, first of all. And before I let you go, Bhavik, I have a quick question for you.
sure,
Anything this week that caught your attention?
anything as in within the VC space, or you're
Yeah,
talking about
VC space or the broader space that you look at?
so any company that you're talking about?
Yeah, or markets going up and down. Any commentary on that?
No, so I think markets are probably become a shadow of the Western world, right now. So that is so I got something on YouTube caught my attention, but I don't know if this is a political freewheeling kind of a thing. I watched Joe Biden's one of YouTube videos of his how expert he is on different ways of uh, creating his opinion around the candidate. So I think that made me think that we are not that bad or worse off with what we have in hand, and the other countries are dealing with larger issues on whom to choose, or bad versus worse or a worse versus worse. So we are
Yeah,
not that, or we are doing well.
yeah. Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, yeah. So Mr. Biden, we all know how polished he is when he speaks. So
I still have vivid memories.
yeah. I remember last time when we discussed US politics, so KP was almost in tears. So it's a different.
There was one more person, if you remember right. In addition to me,
Who was that? I don't remember.
this was 2016, man. That
Yeah, yeah, I know
big
that.
number, gives you some take you back, 4 years.
I hope. Yeah, I'm hoping KP has turned to being a Republic now from his days of being a Democrat. So yeah,
We'll see about that.
yeah, yeah.
Bhargav, if you don't have any other questions, I'll let Bhavik leave.
Sure.
Mike has a
Thanks,
question.
thanks everyone. Great
Yeah.
speaking, and look forward to join your conversations in the future.
Hey, thanks,
Thank you
Bhavik.
so much for
yeah,
joining,
thank you.
Bhavik. I know I've been trying to lure you in for quite some time, and you've been acting pricey, which
No,
is
actually, so
understandable.
it's
You're
not
a
so.
company
I am not a
CEO.
partner, right? So I need to
Yeah,
stick to the schedules.
right,
So
right,
you
right.
always decide your own schedule somehow. So I don't decide that beyond till a certain time. So it's
Sure,
always
sure, sure.
yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a jive at us?
No, no, no. It's not a jive. So next time, maybe somewhere in the future,
Went
I'll,
so
we
strongly.
all will fix up a 3 p.m. call on a weekday and then do a freewheeling, not
Yes,
caring
yes.
about who is listening to us or not.
Correct,
And
correct, correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For those of you who don't know Bhavik is very notorious for his wit,
okay, okay.
or rather, I should say, famous for his wit and sense of humor.
So
Yeah.
that we'll know offline soon. Yeah.
You should know him offline for that.
Yeah.
Okay, Bhavik, thank you so much
Thanks
for
a lot.
joining. I
Thanks,
really
Karthik.
appreciate it.
Thanks for making me part of this discussion.
No,
Thanks.
no, it's a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you, Vinod.
Bye.
All right, that was something.
Yeah.
Bhargavi, thanks for bombarding Bhavik with
I
bunch
yeah.
of questions.
It
She
it's what? Go on, Vinod.
no, I think she's trying to make use of the freewheeling really for free.
Hey, but it's
Yeah,
useful for the listeners as well, right? Now they know
of
when
course.
they should approach Roots Ventures, what we are looking at, all that.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally,
absolutely.
totally.
Yeah, if you're building the next Just Herbs, please approach us along with Roots Ventures. We are happy to take a look.
Yes, and the next investment that they're gonna do, we'll try to co-invest with them, and I think that's one of the promises that Bhavik has made. So we'll hold him up to it.
Yeah, yeah. And he say I'm not partner for Karthik again, huh? Watch out.
I don't count, my friend.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay,
so
moving on. I So Bhargavi is making up for all the time from before, right? She gets to have the lion's share of today's session,
Yeah,
right? Right.
that was
So I'm
part
gonna
of the deal.
That's part of the deal. So next time, you join late, you'll remember this. But no. But you wanted to talk about a particular company, Bhargavi, that really caught your eye this week.
Yeah, so, but Vinod, Vinod wanted to go early today, I thought. So,
Oh
yeah,
yes, you're right.
let me go ahead then, Karthik. So I think the company that just caught my attention this week, right, is called Best Doc.
Mhm.
Best Doc is a hospital patient relationship management software founded by Afsal, who's also the founder of Deliver, which got acquired by Big Basket maybe 2015 or 2014. And I have met the founder, in the past, and I think he's been at this product for the last 2.5 years easily. What surprised me was, it's not a easy buy if you ask me, but what has changed, if you ask me, in the mindset of people is the resilience, right? Again, the founder has stayed, right? He didn't really worry about who's backing him or who else would back in the first year. So he's been at it for the last 2.5 years. Now, eventually, you've seen it's got funded by Axel and Arkham venture this week. So that
Mm.
caught my attention, saying why some companies actually get funded if they're really good products, right? So it doesn't matter, right? It will eventually find its way and come across to serve a larger customer audience. I think that leaves me with an impression saying, look, I had looked at this company and, but in the past and where it is today, I think it's very different. It's a proper tier 2, tier 3 patient hospital management software. So that just caught my attention. Nothing, I think it just shows great founder resilience and capability largely. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. I know you have to go, Vinod, so we will let you go.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.
bye, bye, Vinod.
Bye.
It's just between you and me, Bhargavi, now. So
Yeah, so we will just talk about Melora and then
we'll
yeah,
wrap up.
we will
Yeah.
we will just wind up today. So Melora was a company, right? Because that's one sector. Um, uh, if you had asked me about 5 years back, I was like, who will buy gold online in the sense? Who will buy gold jewelry online? But
Yeah.
then we started looking at other jewelry brand commerce like Pipa
Hmm.
and Bella, right? That's another company which I have been following, and I think it's a great one, right? Which they disrupted really that category. So Then when we looked at the sector, we thought, okay, selling gold jewelry online is being taken away by big boys, people with deep pockets, who have built brands outside, kind of.
Yeah.
So that is the space where Melora has come, and so currently they have raised, I think, $12 million. It's so that is one funding which, and amidst this scenario, right? So that is something which caught my right eye, in the sense it's a non-tech funding. It's even within brands and D2C, it's a very different sector and category. So yeah, so that is the company.
Very interesting. So it's Best Talk, and then Melora for you, and for me, in early stage, the company that caught my eye was this Techstars incubated company called the Rephrase, right, which basically
Mm.
operates an AI based media production platform. Which is very cool, because that's something that I am actively exploring as well, right? What are the innovations that are coming from uh, you know anything that improves uh, the video consumption space. So we're looking at few very interesting deals. Even we've looked at some this past
Yes,
week as we have gone through, right? So this really caught my eye, and I think it's a very interesting thing. I believe Lightspeed has done the seed round for these guys.
yeah.
So yeah, so that is my pick for the week.
Great.
Awesome. So we'll finish up early today because Vinod has a call and he has to drop out, and we also ran out of all our topics. And then we had a surprise guest, Bhavik Mehta from VP from Roots Venture. He was a VP at Roots Ventures.
And
Um,
whatever
yeah,
we are up to, we need more time now. Whatever
yeah,
decision
yeah,
you make. So, so yeah, people who are watching, there is something very exciting we are working on. So, if you are looking at investing or wanting to invest in companies with uh, whatever validation you want, or a lot of positive signals, then do reach out to us, because there is something which we are working on, and which exactly will fit in the bill of people who want to play safe
yeah,
in their initial few bets.
and still be able
So
to
yeah,
build a portfolio,
sorry.
and still be able to build a portfolio.
Exactly. So yeah. So you will do a safe bet and still be able to build a portfolio in a very quick time. So yeah, do reach out to us, and more news on that in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so you have our email, hello@javacapital.co. That's the best way to reach us. We go through each and every email that comes to us. Follow us on Twitter at Java Capital. We're also quite active on LinkedIn, so we'll keep you posted with our updates on LinkedIn as well. Until next week, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Cheers and bye bye.
Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye.